So good morning. I see everyone survived the walk and the cold. I thought I would start the lecture with some videos of what we do, just so you see and experience some of our work in Afghanistan, Iraq, and in Syria. And then from there, get into some details about why we do what we do and how we do it and who we work with. The first video I would like to show is from Afghanistan. In September of 2005, we took a quartet of jazz musicians, a vocalist, Coco York, and Mike Del Ferro and his trio. This was a European-American group, actually, to Afghanistan, where we worked with one of William's colleagues, Mr. Ghulam Hussain, rabab player, and his traditional music ensemble. We prepared a concert that fused jazz and Afghan pop and traditional music, and came up as a sort of unique fusion. What was also special about this concert, it was the first concert by American musicians in, I think, 27 years in Kabul. It was open air in the courtyard of an NGO and had huge turnout by virtually every Afghan TV and radio station, and hundreds of people live in the audience, and maybe 1,000 more trying to get in who unfortunately could not get in to the concert. But it had a huge resonance in Afghanistan in 2005. In the meantime, Afghanistan has become a much more active place culturally. There's much more live performance, many more visitors. But in any case, this is a fusion of the Negro spiritual Motherless Child and an Afghan traditional song, Sarhadi Herat.
Like a motherless child, sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child, from home, a long way from home.
In the interest of time, I'm going to skip ahead to the end. This was the last number in the concert, and we wanted to end with a more party atmosphere. So this was the result at the end. Very long jam session that comes up at that point. But this is one of our models of engaging audiences through our work with other professional musicians. And as I said, this was in Kabul in 2005. One of the other, let's see, is this open here? Yeah. One of the other models I'd like to talk about today is our YES Academy program. YES standing for Youth Excellence on Stage. And this is a program that started in the Kurdistan region of Iraq in 2007. Since then, we've expanded to many other countries. We do this program in Thailand and Burma now, in Jordan, Syria, and Lebanon. This year will be the first year we've done this in Syria. And next month, we're actually expanding this to the cities of Herat and Mazar-e Sharif in Afghanistan. And a great leap of faith, because we haven't quite yet located the music, dance, and theater students to participate in our program, which starts in 2 weeks. But in any case, in Iraq, we were thrilled to see that there were literally hundreds and thousands of young people engaged in the performing arts through a network of training institutes called the Institutes of Fine Arts. They're in almost every major and medium-sized city throughout the country. And they're offering mostly theater, music, and visual arts classes. This is a short video that takes a tour through all of our classes in 2007. And after that, I'd like to play a couple of videos that show how the participants in the program have grown and progressed over the past 4 years. So this starts with the children's theater program in an excerpt from The Wizard of Oz.
Follow the yellow brick road. Follow the yellow brick road.
Follow the yellow brick road. Follow the yellow brick road.
Follow the yellow brick road.
Follow the yellow brick road.
Follow the yellow brick road. Follow the yellow brick road. Follow, 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 follow the yellow brick road. Follow the yellow brick, follow the yellow brick, follow the yellow brick road. You're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. You'll find he is a whiz of a whiz, if ever a whiz there was. If ever, oh ever a whiz there was, the Wizard of Oz is one because of the wonderful things he does. You're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz.
ئەوڕێک بەرەوە دواوە بۆ پات بۆڵە بۆڵی چیتە تۆ بۆڵەی چی نەبێت خەڵک مینە لە ئێستا باش چ بوو پات هەرەوە ناکە خەڵک بۆڵەی بێت پێم بڵێ بۆ واین ئێمە هەموو کات دەگشت دێ لەسەر وەستان دەبی بۆ واین ئێمە لە گشت دەستکردنی بۆ پەشیمان دەبی ترسات هەر ترسەکەوە ئەکا بەخۆشی یەکتر هەراسان ببی بۆوە بوو بەچی بڵێ لەبەرچی بۆ گشتە سەرێتان گەشان دەبی
whole the show was great because the audience were involved to that show. But the most important thing and the most amazing thing was my band. It was the first time to some foreigners see our performance. It was great.
This is the original instruments Vivaldi Concerto for 4 violins. This is Mark Thayer of St. Louis Symphony Orchestra. This is Janet Jackson's Rhythm Nation with the children from Children's Theater, ballet students, and our B-boys and B-girls who popped in. This was our closing number in the show. From our ballet dancers.
Music is after all an international language, and if we can't communicate with each other, we will just play music and it will do most of the talking.
Come on! Prejudice! Ignorance! Oh, come on now! Bigotry!
Okay, hold on here. So, the girl who spoke just at the end, Zuhal, she went on to found the Iraq National Youth Orchestra 2 years ago. And that's a very successful youth orchestra program that takes place every summer for a 2-week period in Iraq, funded by the British Council. The hip-hop dancer, I think you misunderstood what he was saying. He was saying the greatest thing was not his band, but that his band got to be heard by foreigners and seen by foreigners. So it wasn't just bragging, but he has gone on to found a children's dance company that's associated with one of the local television stations. So a lot of the participants in this program got a boost of energy from this first visit to the Kurdistan region from the outside world, and the first chance to interact with Americans and Europeans in American and European genres. When you saw the string players standing up and playing Vivaldi, that was, as far as we can tell, the first time early music has been taught and performed in the early music style. So with a small number of players performing the way that used to be done in Italy in the 17th century. So there's a lot of first, a lot of new information. All of this that you saw was done over 7 days of time. We didn't have a long time to work together. The huge orchestra you saw was all of Iraq's orchestras combined into one orchestra. It was 160 players from the Iraq National Symphony Orchestra and the orchestras of Erbil, Suleimania, and Rania. We haven't repeated that experiment because after this first program in 2007, we discovered there were so many young players in the country that we didn't know about in 2007 and have moved our focus more to education. So I'd just like to play a video of our orchestra from last summer. They're playing a performance piece by Sammartini, and this is about 100 young players ranging in age from about 11 to 26. For the musicians in the room, many of the string players in that orchestra play only in first position, meaning for a violinist, the highest note they can get is an A on the E string. So we had to find repertoire that all 100 of our students could play. But out of that group of 100, we had an advanced orchestra as well that played music of Gustav Holst, William Walton, Benjamin Britten, a lot of British music, George Gershwin, as well as Mozart and Vivaldi last year. 6 members of that orchestra have been to America on a full year of scholarship at St. Louis University, and many of them have come back to Iraq now and are working as the next generation of cultural leaders. I just wanted to show you quickly the kids that you saw in 2007, what they were doing 4 years later. These are some of the same hip-hop So one of the things that was going on in there was that we had rival b-boy crews from the same city who were fighting with each other before our program started, and we forced them to work together, to choreograph together, and to exchange members of their crews. So a large part of our hip-hop program in Erbil last summer, as opposed to 2007, focused on creating a disciplined working environment in this hip-hop group and getting people to collaborate across warring b-boy crews. It wasn't what we had planned, but that's the direction we had to go in. And we did a choreography project where the leader of one crew choreographed the guys from the other crew and vice versa. And you can see how hip-hop in 4 years has developed from something rather small and unique to a very pervasive aspect of youth culture in the Kurdistan region of Iraq. I just wanted to show you, are these videos interesting? You want to see some more? Let me just show you a little bit of what we've done in Syria, which suffers not at all from the same amount of isolation that Iraq has suffered. When we first went to Iraq in 2007, the music students had never seen an American face that wasn't a soldier or an oil man or a diplomat. And they were very curious to know more about us and what life was like in the States, and to learn about these genres that they were studying at their school or trying out on the street corner, in the case of hip-hop. But we're getting very little outside influence or advice on. In Syria, we plugged into a very highly developed cultural infrastructure of schools and orchestras and opera houses. And this is a video of, is William here? It ain't necessarily so. The original version for voice and choir. We don't have an orchestra, it's just me on the piano. But this is a multi-faith youth choir in Damascus.
It ain't necessarily so.
It ain't necessarily so.
Things that is liable to read in the Bible, it ain't necessarily so. Little David was small, but oh my heart. They fought big Goliath, who lay down at Goliath. Little David was small, but oh my, what is in my life? Oh, Jonah.
Okay. And then this is from our string orchestra program, also in Damascus. There were 2,000 people in the audience with minimal publicity. And over 2 nights, the second night was our Broadway and hip-hop dance program. We had about 2,500. So over 2 nights, we reached a live audience of 4,500, plus 2 national government-run TV stations were there and did a long series of interviews with the students and with the teachers. So it was actually possible in Syria to get a very positive and inclusive message out about American culture and Syrian-American cultural relations with that through that project. The last video I would like to show, if you're still with me, is just a few minutes of a documentary that was done about our program in Iraq in the summer of 2008. It's called Camp Unity. This is by a filmmaker named Ryan White, and the film has just in the past year started to be shown at some film festivals and picked up a few prizes in Montreal and Philadelphia. But this is a 90-minute full-length documentary. I'm just going to show you 3 minutes, don't worry. But if anyone's interested in getting a copy of this to show back home or at your university, please let me know. Let's see if this is going to work. Yeah, Camp Unity.
أنا حياتي صعبة، يعني عندي ظروف كلها صعبة، يجوز غير واحد ييأس من الحياة. أنا سينا ثامر صادق، أنا من بغداد وأعيش في كركوك، صاص مسرح وهيب هوب دانس، رقص هيب هوب.
أكيد لدينا ولا خوام بيوي أنا خوفي وبينيون شو كاد يعني ما ويكي زور أنا قاعد أنابو يعني حسنا زور يعني زور خوشش ما يستن
تاك أوقات مومو بغدادي بكم
The whole point of this is to get to know your neighbor. learn and get to know your neighbor. It's like summer camp. You got to meet people.
Hello, John again.
Okay. So that's all the video I had for you today. Is Mark still here? Could someone advise me on how we're doing for time? Oh my goodness. Yeah, I have this PowerPoint. We could talk through a few things or take some questions now, whatever. Yeah. Okay, let me just put some context into what you just saw. No, that's not what I wanted. Sorry. Is it Control F5? No. There it is. This is my third time to use PowerPoint in my entire life. Because often we're working in countries that don't even have electricity, much less smart rooms. Here's just pictures, some flags of the different nations we're working in. With the Yes Academy program, Afghanistan for the first time in about 10 days. Pakistan, Thailand, Iraq, Lebanon, Syria, Jordan. We have also done some, unfortunately, one-off programs in countries, Sudan, northern and southern Sudan. Belarus, for example, is another country we're very fond of. We got started in 1990 based on a very inspiring trip to Latvia and Lithuania when it was still part of the Soviet Union. And a few weeks later, the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991. And that gave us the idea that there was this incredible pool of interest in American genres, American musicians, in countries that had been isolated from any sort of honest, authentic, two-way contact with the United States. Our programs center around the Jazz and Broadway Bridges program you saw in the first video, where we had a meeting of professionals and took that collaboration to audiences. The Yes Academy, the Youth Excellence on Stage program, a program I call Diplomacy, with taking breakdancers, rappers, beatboxers on tour and also in hip-hop academies. We work especially with a group from Houston called Javi Coro, young guys in their 20s, but very experienced teachers, and work often in the United States with youth at risk, as well as great dancers, great artists and choreographers. And really we focus on the genres that are unique to the United States, and also in our classical program try to offer training in our classical program in piano and voice and string instruments. We're especially focused on the Middle East and Central Asia, and trying to find ways to bring back to the United States the result of our work abroad. It's very difficult. We have 2 students we take every year from Iraq to study in St. Louis on full scholarship, and they're some of the best cultural ambassadors we have for the work we do abroad. I'll be speaking with those students in St. Louis and Boston just this coming week. We believe in face-to-face cultural engagement, either in times of peace or conflict. And we don't believe in relying only on new technologies. We don't believe we can tweet and Facebook our way to cultural engagement. And we're trying to develop sustainable long-term support for multi-year interactive engagement. We've been most successful in that with our Yes Academy programs in Iraq and Lebanon and Syria. The Yes Academy model came about when I grew frustrated with our performance and workshop model and decided what youth were really clamoring for was to see us for a chunk of time, not just for a day or two or not just once on stage, but over a sustained period of time. So we normally run these programs in the summertime during school holidays for 10 to 14 days. We bring in a team of US and European teachers, usually 10 to 14 teachers, We're adding American college student interns to that mix this year. And we work with between 200 and 300 aspiring musicians, dancers, and actors aged between 6 and 26. And all of these programs culminate in the big performances you saw on video. Again, the focus is on nations emerging from conflict and isolation. We try to engage youth with quality teaching materials. That's something that's lacking in all of the places we go. And we encourage a nationwide collaboration amongst young people. So, for example, in Iraq, we're making sure that kids from Baghdad, Kirkuk, Mosul, Basra, Diyala province attend our program and mix together with the kids from the Kurdistan region, which has a very separate language, culture, and current history from the rest of Iraq. It's an oasis of peace and prosperity, whereas to the south there's still a lot of issues. And now kids from those two regions tend to speak English together because neither can speak a common language of Arabic. We're focusing very hard on training the next generation of teachers and cultural leaders. In all the countries we go to, this is a big focus on what we do, targeting youth above 18 that have the potential to become excellent teachers, performers, and leaders in their community, giving them the materials they need, the training they need to become good teachers, and hopefully through observing our program and participating in it as assistant managers and giving them responsibilities, they learn a new way of organizing and doing things. Corruption is a huge issue everywhere you go. In the Middle East, I think Jordan is the only country we're working in where corruption is not an issue. Although we had an interesting situation in Jordan this week when Saddam Hussein's granddaughter attended our hip-hop dance classes and created a big flurry of excitement that she was there and that she was dancing hip-hop. And people kept coming to me saying, what do we do, what do we do? And I said, let her dance, she's a good dancer. But it's, some people like us like to see that as an example of full circle cultural diplomacy, that Saddam Hussein's family actually is sending their children to participate in American cultural events now. We have a large program of donating music method books and instruments and supplies, strange things like oil for the valves of brass instruments or replacement strings for violins and cellos. They're very much in short supply in many of the countries we work in, so we always bring boxes and boxes of these materials with us. And we're trying to get as many students as possible to the United States on scholarship, but it's very difficult. There's this kind of visa curtain that's arisen in the world since the events of 1989. And it's very difficult to get students from many of the countries we're working in visas to go to the United States for a short-term workshop or for a long-term year of study. Let's see. These are just some photos where in the world. Does anyone want to venture a guess where this is? Can you see that? Any thoughts? The dome behind is actually a government building. That's Erbil. That's where we run our Iraqi youth program, the Yes Academy program. Here's some other photos. The top photo is a group photo from our 2009 program. We typically have between 200 and 300 kids in our program. Does anyone know who these kids are and where they're from? William, you're not allowed to answer. These are the kids at morning assembly at the Afghan National Institute of Music, where William is teaching and where I've been a guest teacher last month. I think those are some of your string students, the girls at the bottom, and the boys in the top photo, the first one here in the light brown jacket. He's one of the star pianists of the school. Does anyone recognize these street scenes? Damascus, yes. So this is Damascus, Syria. Can anyone guess where this Broadway production took place? There's really no clues in this photo, but it's called The Last Dictatorship in Europe, if that gives you a clue. Belarus, exactly. that was a real thrill to work with these students. They were students at the Cultural University of Belarus, of Minsk, and studying to be what they call variety artists. So they were studying to be singers and dancers and pop bands and touring productions, and they were excellent. They all had excellent background. We did some amazing work with them. What about this photo? This is Broadway again. Footloose, from the musical Footloose. Any guesses? Pakistan, Islamabad. When we were invited to do a Broadway workshop, a series of Broadway workshops in Karachi, Lahore, and Islamabad, we thought, well, we'll give it a go and see what we can do. But we didn't know we were walking into cities that had rival Broadway production companies. Like in Islamabad, there's 2 groups of youth who are producing 2 full-length productions every year. The same in Lahore and in Karachi. And there's just gobs of talent working in complete isolation. So we're trying to help them with that. This gets into some theory, I'm not sure. This is an interesting photo. If you notice the red circle, this elevator is equipped with a rescue device. Not if, but when power fails. So this is an issue we deal with all the time, is are we going to have electricity? So we're always having to think of, bring battery-powered iPod docking stations and, car batteries to run an electric guitar for 45 minutes and that sort of thing. But we're often literally running out of power in the places we go to. And generators are not always a very good solution because they tend to have problems with surges and they tend to break down. Policy challenges. I don't know if you can guess what these are from the photos. In the upper left-hand corner here, this is Amy Fullman, who helped prepare this presentation, by the way. She works with us as a consultant and project manager in the summertime. Dr. Jean Aitken, our jazz teacher. The 3 of us were shut out of Syria the day before our program started for 3 completely different reasons. We all didn't have valid visas to get into Syria. And we spent 48 hours, 24/7, trying to get our situation sorted out. So we arrived at our project about 15 minutes before it started. So often visas and approvals are a huge obstacle to getting a project off the ground. The photo in the upper right shows the theater where you saw the orchestra performing a few minutes ago. This is in Damascus, in New Shams, a suburban neighborhood. But nothing worked. Again, we had electricity problems, we had lighting problems, sound problems, difficulties with requests for bribes from the managers of the theaters and the people working there. Very sort of difficult working environment. This is President Assad of Syria. Actually, our work since our program in Syria last summer has gone much more smoothly, and now the Ministry of Culture asked us to increase the length of our program, to add a dedicated teacher training program to our program, and to take the program performances around to other cities like Aleppo. So this is actually what started as a policy challenge and a very rocky relationship with the Ministry of Culture last year, based on the success of our program, has grown into a very, very positive working relationship. And this sleeping gentleman here represents a couple of issues we have in Iraq, where our government partners often, at the ministerial level, people are very excited and very involved in our program. But when it comes down to the people that you need to help get your sound going, or to sweep the halls in the morning, or take out the trash, or just deal with physical plant issues, they're often asleep when you need them most. Making an impact. Bruce Walker, you saw him conduct a couple of times in the orchestra videos I had. He says, the 40 days I spent in the Middle East really changed my outlook on cultural diplomacy, music education, and how the power of music can change lives. This experience has been one of the most rewarding things I've done as an educator and musician. To Iraq, Kurdistan, Syria, and Lebanon, and all the wonderful people and students that I've met, I will miss you all. This was one of his Facebook postings. So we stay in touch with our students through Facebook primarily. and through our YouTube postings of all the videos from our performances. The young man here on the lower left is one of our volunteers from Iraq who followed us to Lebanon to volunteer and developed a very proper romantic relationship with a young girl from the Bekaa Valley, one of our Lebanese volunteers. But because she was Muslim and he was Christian, they decided not to pursue the relationship at all. They knew it could never work. But they're still close friends, and was illustrative of the bridges are built amongst the participants in our programs. These girls here on the right are the theater students you saw in the 2007 video when they were this tall. Now they're this tall and doing great work. And here's some flowers growing out of rocks and dust, which shows if you plant seeds, often they will grow and turn into something beautiful. And if you want more information about what we do with American Voices, here's our YouTube channel, American Voices, and our Facebook groups. If you look for Yes Academy Kurdistan, Syria, or Lebanon, you're welcome to join our Facebook groups. So now I guess if there's any questions, if we have time for questions, I don't know.
First of all, thank you very much.
Thank you.